Good morning. This is Carrie Freeman. Welcome to My Left Ear. I like to call myself the writer, producer, and director of this particular video site. And I want everybody to know, if they haven't seen me before, this is a Biden-Harris website. So you might want to move on if you're voting for Donald Trump. You might not like it. I'm asking for subscribers. When I get up to 1,000, I get to have a community page. So please, if you will, hit the subscribe button. And if anybody needs to reach me, it's the email at Carrie Freeman. Nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry. Carrie's My Left Ear at gmail.com. Carrie's My Left Ear at gmail.com. So as Alex Witt would say it, let's get right to it. This is all about politics today. Well, as of like 24 hours ago, 50 million people voted already. That's landmark. That's historical. It makes me think of passion, that people do this when they feel passionate. And I'm going to guess that, or my left ear is going to guess that these are largely Democrats that came out in droves. Now, we might see a big influx on November 3rd, where a lot of Republicans come out. So don't be shocked by that. That's really possible. So I mentioned last video, which was very short, that I got this image out of the blue, like in my car, and it was a picture, color picture, moving video of the ocean pulling back like it does before a tsunami. And it came out of the blue. Now, when things come out of the blue, for me, they're very significant because they're not being related to something else. So I went, whoa, okay. But I'm feeling an energy on top of it. I'm feeling like a kind of a quiet, that people are hunkering down and they're afraid, they're nervous. I mean, I certainly get phone calls from my friends asking me, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I just saw this on TV and I'm so scared. And then on Twitter, there just feels like there's a silence. So I read energy and I'm reading this energy. I want to be clear, I want to be careful about using words like landslide. I could be a setup, and I don't think it's a good idea. But it's out there, and people are using it, and we certainly would love a landslide. Now, to the final presidential debate, I had said prior, I don't really think it's going to change anybody's mind either way, and it was fairly undramatic. I call this debate Trump's confinement, because with that shutting off of the mic when his time is done, or Biden's time is done also, it sort of contained him. And he was pretty, somewhat normal for about 40 minutes, but he lied like, my God, he just lied like a drunken sailor all throughout the thing, the most outrageous things. And then his control dropped after about 40 minutes. Now, when Joe was speaking, he continued to scowl and shake his head. And then something funny showed up on Twitter. I just have to share it with you. Megyn Kelly tweeted, "Trump won the debate handily." I always wondered about her. That kind of like, okay, Megyn Kelly. So essentially, Trump lied for 90 minutes and he went after Hunter Biden, and it only makes him look horrible, disgusting. And boy, Joe Biden really had this, he was prepared for it. He was prepared for it. He knew it was going to come. The thing about Joe Biden is he won't attack anybody's children. And that's a measure of his class, his values. So he wouldn't do it. Biden, Joe Biden, my guy, your guy, he made no mistakes. He was direct. He was personal, authentic. He dealt with facts. When Trump said about COVID, well, we're learning to live with it, and Biden came back with, no, we're dying with it. It was great. It was a great moment. And Biden said about Trump, he has no clear plan. He has no clear plan. When Trump accused Joe of raking in a fortune and inferred wrongdoing, I loved Biden's answer. He said, I have not taken money from any country. What are you hiding? I released my taxes for the last 22 years. Show us your taxes. So that was a good moment. Anyway, nothing much changed, I don't think, from that, but it's done. Okay, now we're moving on, and we're in the home stretch, guys. We're like Seabiscuit is running. Now I'm going to move on to Putin Trump. Putin put out, I don't know if it was a Twitter or a tweet or it was a news thing, but he basically said that he rejected the propaganda. He didn't use the word propaganda, I'm using it. The situation with Hunter Biden, the propaganda with Hunter Biden, the accusations. And he publicly came out and just said, we don't support it, we don't see it. And now this is huge. In my left ear says it's huge, because it really signals Putin is breaking with Trump. That was a big deal. And breaking up is hard to do. It'll be hard to do for Trump. He thinks he has a friend. He's not smart enough to know this was never a friendship. Now we're moving on to Mitch McConnell. There's something very wrong with Mitch, physically wrong. Obviously I want to say obviously, but I think there's blood thinners. That's accounts for a lot of the bruising. But I think he's hiding something significant about his health, and he's pushing through this Supreme Court nomination. This is like his mission in life. Not caged children, not hungry citizens, not people being evicted. Push through this, I'm going to get to her in a minute, this nomination. I think Mitch is probably going to win the Senate race, but I also have a feeling he's going to resign. Just the weirdest feeling that he's not going to be around for the long haul. And he's not going to have the power because my left ear tells me the Dems are going to win the Senate by about 4 or 5 seats, which is great. We need it. The House will remain dominated by the Democrats. That's an easy one. So we'll see about Mitch. I will be crushed if he wins, but I think this is the way it's going. And when I or other people, like maybe other psychics get like emotionally invested, you can get mucky with the predictions a little bit. And this is, of course, very passionate time, and I'm passionate. Now, Amy Phony Barrett, that's what I call her. She's very disingenuous. She changed her position. No, that's Lisa Murkowski. Never mind. She's not a conservative. Amy Phony is not a conservative. She's a fanatic. But she's probably going to be voted in. Now, this is what I want to say. After that, I know that her confirmation is going to be reviewed. She withheld information, and she's so controversial. I don't have to tell you that. But this isn't the end. She'll get pushed through most likely. I think Mitch changed the rules so people can vote from their homes. That was not originally the case. Everybody had to be in the Senate physically to vote. It's not the case anymore. And then we move on to Lisa Murkowski. And this is where I was saying she changed her position. Amazing. She came out with that big declaration. She's not voting for this confirmation. And then all of a sudden, 4 days later or about, it changed. She's voting for it. And I saw a photograph of her walking down a hallway, and she was carrying something, and her face was down. And I said, she knows. She's walking. It's the walk of shame. But money makes the world go round. And this is money, and it's money behind Amy Phony Barrett too. Lots of big money. Think the Koch brothers and all these other, or the Koch, however you say their names, Koch. So that's Lisa. She's a loser. okay? Now, I had this vision that when Biden gets elected, he picks up the phone from the Oval Office and he calls Angela Merkel. And within a minute, we have our allies back. That's the gift of Joe Biden. He can pick up the phone and call Justin Trudeau. He can pick up the phone and call Macron, and they'll be thrilled. And we won't have these enemies anymore. It can happen that fast. So that's the talent, the heart, the soul of Joe Biden. Also, Biden is going to issue stimulus, albeit late. And this stimulus thing is still up in the air. I still think there's something coming, but I might be picking up on the fact that Joe Biden is going to step in and do it. It's just not going to be in a timely manner because he won't be able to do anything. But I still have a feeling the money's coming, okay? Maybe sooner than January 20th. The year, gotta go with the year. So here's the metaphor for what we've all been going through. Those of us who want a Biden-Harris ticket voted in. It's like we've all been living in an abusive, violent, and terrible foster home with a crazy, drunk predator for the father. And when Joe Biden wins, it's as if we've been relocated to a loving, warm, and safe foster care family. That's really how I see it. We have seriously been abused and there's a lot of trauma. And this week especially, you might not want to watch a lot of the news because a lot of pundits are going to be, just scaring us a little bit because that's what they have to do. Another thing about Joe Biden, one day before he got the nomination, and it was still very sketchy if he was going to get in there. It was not a high point in his campaign. He was on The View, and I think Joy Behar asked him, well, how do you feel about Lindsey Graham? All these things he's saying, and his turnaround and his loyalties. And Joe Biden said, I'm not going to say anything bad about Lindsey Graham. And you want to know why? And they were like, why? And he said, because I might have to work with Lindsey one day. I might have to reach across the aisle and talk with him about a policy or a situation, and I'm not going to go there. I remember hearing him say that and going, wow, what a guy, what a guy. So I have 2 quotes for you. And this first quote is significant for me, all right? But you'll relate to it because it's by Wayne Dyer. Some of you noticed that I got 1 or 2 really nasty messages after one of my videos. Like one was really nasty, like that I was bragging and just all kinds of stuff. And some of you stepped in and said, hey, wait a minute. But I just found this quote. I wasn't looking for it. So here it is. A non-doer is very often a critic that is someone who sits back and watches doers and then waxes philosophically about how the doers are doing. It's easy to be a critic, but being a doer requires effort, risk, and change. That's where I'm at. I'm just risking and trying to share something and bring some kind of comfort, some information that could be valuable. I love this quote by Wayne Dyer. And then the other one is lighter. It's by a comedian named Mort Saul. And many of you might not know who Mort Saul is or was. He's still alive, but he's elderly. He was one of the first comedians who did purely political humor. And I'm old enough to remember him. He was great and very intellectual, so smart. So I just found this quote by Mort Saul. He said, liberals feel unworthy of their possessions. Conservatives feel they deserve everything they've stolen. Do you believe that? That was a long time ago that he made that quote. I'm going to repeat it because it's so good. Liberals feel unworthy of their possessions. Conservatives feel they deserve everything they've stolen. Just enjoy that one. I won't be able to make a video for about 5 days. I have something personal that I have to handle. So I'll be back. Caution about what you listen to this week. Just stay with your vision. Stay with how good it's going to feel when Biden takes over, and he will, but not without a kerfuffle, okay? I like that word, kerfuffle. So that is to be expected. You know, one last thing that's coming to mind, I'm just going to throw it in. It's not written here, but I've been studying Stoicism, which is, to me, it's utterly fascinating because it goes back to the Roman Empire. And the Stoics had something called negative visualization. And they believed that if you're coming up on a challenge, that you allow yourself to think about, well, what if it doesn't happen? What will I do? And what are the plans? And what's plan B? And a lot of corporations are using this when they're going in to negotiate or make a big merger. What if? What's our plan B? So don't be afraid to just think of your plan B. You're not going to have to utilize it, but it might calm you a little bit. My feeling is we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. So I'll see you soon. And thank you for the support. Make peace, make memories. I have to turn off the button because this is still not working. I got to get it fixed next week. Bye-bye. Have a good week.